I always love it when a car does this. It closes its own lid. You gotta love that. So this week we're gonna be driving the 2020 Ford Escape. And it's not a bad looking car if you don't mind that SUV humped a minivan look. That's a new thing we're seeing a lot of these days. I just broke the seal. So right away, it's got some things that I like about it. It's got a really easy to reach push button start right there. I've got a USB port just staring at me right there. It's going to be easy to plug into. Air conditioning controls are right there where I can see them and going to be easy to take a look at. Let's go ahead and give this thing a start. Get the lights back on in here. Did you guys know that that little arrow right there, that's telling you where the gas pump is? And in the Fords and the Dodges, it's on the driver's side. And that's where it's supposed to be. And a lot of the Chevys, they, in a very silly fashion, put them on the passenger side. Unless you always have a passenger who's willing to fill up your tank for you, why would you put it there? Makes no sense. Yes, I'm that lazy. I'm not walking around the freaking car. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of Chevys, unless it's a Corvette or maybe a 60s Impala. Yeah. I love these wheels that you use to turn to put it in the right gear. It's very ergonomic. I love that. Parking brake, no foot brake, just a push button. That's also a nice feature. Also, I've gotten so spoiled driving newer cars that I've come to hate a car that does not have a telescoping steering wheel, so that I can put that in my lap and still move the seat far enough away that I've got leg room, so I don't have to have my knees up here in my face to get close enough to the dang steering wheel. So I can just bring the steering wheel to me. I love this. And yes, of course, there's a lever down here that just locks that in place when you're done. Car's got 10,605 miles on it. Well, it is August, so it's probably about a year old. Since it's a 2020, they usually release these in like September. But whoever the Ascalon was that drove this last, they've got this in totally the wrong position. This goes down, and then you adjust your mirror so that you can see out. And then at night, if some moron comes up behind you with his brights on, you flip this up and you can still see out the back, but without the glare. So put that down, people, and then adjust it for your view. And then, of course, down here, I get the side mirrors adjusted. I don't really mess with those much until, you know, I get them just sort of so-so. But to me, I never really can determine what the best mirror position is going to be until I get it on the road, at least for the side views. And that's a respectable side view mirror. There are some other cars, particularly the sports cars, where the side view mirror, they might as well have just mounted a spoon there for all the vision it gives you. It's just, they're so small. This is a decent sized mirror. It's not as big as a truck. I really love the truck mirrors because they're huge. They're like as big as my bathroom mirror, but this will do. So in this model, it looks like we have one temperature control, one fan control. There's almost always only one fan control, but sometimes you'll have separate temperature controls for driver and passenger sides. I don't know if that's an option on this vehicle or not, but this is the one they handed us. I noticed on the rental slip that it said that I have XM radio, so we're going to check that out. I do like this guy sitting right up here. Personally, I tend to like it a little bit better when it's embedded in the dash and not sticking up like this. It's not blocking my view at all. My view is up here. I just happen to be holding the phone / camera down here since I don't own real camera equipment. At any rate, again, it's easy to reach. It's easy to just take if you're driving, just take a glance at your map or your radio or what have you. So I'm gonna turn off whatever this crap here is and see about getting the phone synced. So one of the ways I always grade a car is how easy is it to sync the phone. So first thing I do is try to delete everybody else's crap from all the previous renters. Probably going to be under settings, and right there it just jumps out me as Bluetooth, and here I can view the Bluetooth devices, And there's everybody's phones right there waiting for me to jump in and try to sync to them if they're still around town and steal all their stuff. So I'm gonna go through and see, look there. There's their MAC address and the phone models. It's an iPhone 11 with that MAC address. Carrier is Verizon, etc. So yeah, if you sync your phone to a car, delete it when you're done, man. So let's see if we can, there we go. Remove Maddie's phone. Also, don't ever call your phone by your name, okay? Oops. Delete. Yes, remove Maddie's phone. See, this person's a little smarter. They left it alone because it says Galaxy S8. It's not an iPhone, so it's not a real phone, but at least they're smart enough to do that. So let's remove that. And this is cute. Peter Hugenboom. Okay, Peter Hugenboom. Hope Peter doesn't, that's going to be pretty hard to say. No, it wasn't that Peter Hugenboom. You can't sue me. Daniel's iPhone. Another dummy. Freaking Daniel. All right, iPhone. Currently, the name of my phone is HP Printer 12 because when I'm walking around the airport with Wi-Fi or the hotel and people pick up on my signal, nobody wants to hack into the printer. They're looking for your phones to hack into and for your laptops and stuff. And I always change it to something like that, something that is very nondescript that would be found in the places that I go. So right away, this car is scoring a few points with me because of how easy it is to remove the old phones and apparently how easy it's going to be to add a phone because it says right there, add a Bluetooth device. And well, since I can't record and add the device at the same time, and it had multiple devices, there was at least 6 or 8 phones on there. And, you know, I travel alone. I don't have to worry about that. But just think if you're married or have a partner and you have a kid or two and everybody's got phones, you're going to need to hook up at least 8 phones. And once in a while you take a road trip with one of your friends and they're going to want to plug theirs in temporarily. And so it's nice to have the ability to hook up, you know, half a dozen phones on here. Just don't forget to delete when you're done. The other way you can do this is just to go straight to phone and add a phone.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
Isn't that helpful? And then what I'm going to do is go to the Bluetooth section of my phone, and it's going to show up with nothing at first, and then it will show up saying, hey, there's a Ford Escape there. Or sometimes it says Uconnect or something like that. And then you just click on it and match the pins.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
So contact, boy, that was automatic contact download. Okay, hasn't done that yet. We're gonna just go ahead and click finish here. Now the settings on my phone prevent an automatic contact list download, and I'm not gonna change that. But there is a magic way to make that happen temporarily, and that's the USB cable. The USB cable is also how you get CarPlay, and although this car has its own navigation, which is this button right here, and pulls up the map and what have you, some of these are easier than others to actually program in addresses to, and that can be a real pain. And since I'm so used to using Siri, I just plug in the USB and use Siri, and it pops up on the map there. So I've just plugged in the USB. That came up automatically. Just give that a push and agree that you're signing your life away. And sure, we want to call 911 if we have some issues. Click OK. We had that option earlier. And now my phone is asking me whether or not to allow it to sync. So it looks like the only place I'm going to put my phone is down here in this slot, which is okay considering that everything is going to be up here on the screen. But I really do like a vehicle that has an actual spot to hold your phone. And we're off and running. And the first thing I notice is that the brakes are super touchy. Like touchy. I'm used to driving a truck at home, and an older one at that, so sometimes I gotta stand on the brakes to make them stop. These newer cars, some brakes are just like you breathe on them and they throw you through the windshield. This one isn't as bad as that, but it always takes me about a half a day to get used to not wearing out the brakes. So I like this system where it tells you, see the little light that came on? Tells you that there's another car there. Cool feature that, like on the cruise control, you can see that it is currently set to 60 miles an hour, but I'm actually only going 50 because there's this guy in front of me with his hazards on. If I shift lanes, it'll actually speed up. It's got a radar in it, so it will actually slow down rather than just rear end the guy that's in front of you who's not going as fast as you. So how cool is that? A couple other cool things right here, both left and right for driver and passenger heated seats and heated steering wheel. It's August, so it's a little out of season for that. You can see where I've got this bad boy set. Now normally I don't sit quite so close to the wheel, but just to show the point, it's got a little seat memory thing in it. So when you turn off the engine, you go for a little ride. Turn the engine back on, and it just automatically remembers where the seat was. And after a little bit of digging around, I found this button right here by the lock button. That's 1, 2, and 3. And if you were to hold that button down for a second, hey, it saved the seat location. So that one has 3 seat settings on it. So I got a his, a hers, and a neighbor's maybe. But now if anybody's ever been messing with your car, like at the car wash or the valet or something like that, all you have to do is hit that button and your seat automatically goes back to the position that you like best. And that's pretty cool. This is, of course, more handy than a pocket on a shirt, especially if you're having to load or unload groceries. Of course, have a nice little button right up here to just go ahead and have that close itself. I also like having a keyless entry that takes it up a notch. So as long as you've got your key in your pocket, then this ridge that's right here on top of the door handle, if you just touch that with your thumb, that unlocks the door. How cool is that? And if you don't have your keys with you, well, there's this really flush, super sleek keypad with buttons. You just push the button, and it's like having a combination, and that would unlock the door for you. So I think those are pretty cool and handy options to have. The fact that this is an all-wheel drive would definitely come in handy in the wintertime for anybody that's living where there's snow. I'm just visiting, but still. So here's another little feature that I don't particularly care for, but a lot of cars are getting this. As you come up to a stoplight, and watch the tack there when we come to a complete stop, and the car shuts off. And you let off the brake and the car turns back on. And this is supposed to conserve gas. Now I think while it might be conserving a little bit of gas, it's definitely eating up some starter teeth and maybe some flywheel teeth. I hope they engineer the living hell out of that thing to make it as robust as it needs to be to just keep starting the car over and over in stop and go traffic. The other thing about this one is that, like, I've driven some other cars where when you let off the gas pedal and it restarts, it actually kind of gives you a jolt. And this one doesn't do that. This one kind of goes the other way. It does nothing. And so when you first step on the gas pedal, after it restarts, it kind of takes a second to decide, oh, we're going again. So I know that somewhere in the options you can turn off that feature. I left it on all week just to see how it would do. I drove the car about 6 miles to and from the hotel and the job site every day, and it was stop and go traffic, and I swear they timed the lights to make sure that I hit one on red every freaking morning. I hit every red, actually. And frankly, it needs every bit of gas savings it can get, because during the first week that I had the vehicle, according to its own mileage tracker, it was only doing about 15 miles per gallon in the city, which is, my truck at home, my 02 Dodge Dakota, gets about 13 and a half, 14, and it's a V8. So on the other hand, I reset the odometer. I drove it all the way out to Niagara, and then from there to Buffalo, and then from Buffalo back to Rochester today, and it's getting about 32 and a half miles per gallon, which is a little more respectable. Nothing to write home about, but decent mileage. So it gets okay mileage on the highway and kind of crappy mileage in city traffic. So back at the airport parking lot, we need to go to settings and Bluetooth, and let's see here, under our Bluetooth devices, view devices, there we go, and we're going to go ahead and delete my phone from there if we can. There we go. I always have to remember how to do this, and nobody else will get my MAC address and bullcrap off of there, right? Because identity theft is a thing. So overall, I was actually surprisingly impressed with this little thing. I still can't get over the fact that no matter what you say, it looks like an SUV humped a minivan. But it was really comfortable to drive. Never got a sore back or got any sweat spots, on the backs of my legs or small of my back or anything like that. And it was fairly responsive in traffic. Aside from the iffy gas mileage and the fact that engine start thing that I don't like very much, it's actually a pretty decent little car. The thing that surprised me most about this car is how much I didn't hate it, considering it looks like something that my dad would drive. But if you don't mind that, or if maybe you are your dad and you want to drive something like that, it's not a bad car. So that's my official opinion anyway. I keep waiting for the day that they upgrade me to one of these, but yeah, not gonna hold my breath.